More confirmation today that JobKeeper will not be extended for any individual industry, even tourism. We've had the Prime Minister not rule out additional support after March, though, which is crucial, but what kind of support we still don't know. And the trigger for our vaccine rollout, approval by the Therapeutic Goods Administration, looks very likely to occur next week. To give us updates on all of those key issues, I spoke earlier tonight with Political Editor Andrew Clennell. So both hospitality and tourism are screaming out for some help, Andrew, especially when JobKeeper ends in March. What chance is there that some sectors will receive help, and will that mean that they'll get an extension of JobKeeper in any form?
Well, I can rule out an extension of JobKeeper unless there's some major development like a massive outbreak that goes on for months, I think, Chris, it's fair to say.
Not even for tourism, because the Prime Minister mentioned, we'll be listening to the tourist operators and we'll work out what we can do, but I won't let them behind.
Yeah, but not JobKeeper.
Right.
So assistance of some kind, I've no doubt there'll be assistance of some kind, particularly for like the international tourism sector, but there's a difference between hundreds of millions and the 100 billion we've seen in JobKeeper, and it seems clear Morrison and Frydenberg want to end that, want to end incurring further debt, want to start mounting an argument that it's your money that's being spent, it's your borrowings as a community. So Restaurant and Catering Australia wrote asking for this hospo keeper. Josh Frydenberg's going to write back and say, sorry, we're not extending it just for you. And there are two flow-on effects of JobKeeper. There's many positive effects, as you know, to prop the economy up during all the lockdowns and that. But two pretty detrimental effects are it's prevented some people from applying for jobs because they've been receiving the payment. The other is there's a feeling that it's helped state premiers continue border closures. Why not, if their economies aren't going so bad? And a lot of that has had to do with JobKeeper.
Yeah, OK. This is the Prime Minister on radio this morning.
We can't run the Australian economy on government money forever. It's all taxpayers' money. It's all debt, and it's got to be paid back. And so we've got to be very careful with how we deal with these programs. They can't just continue, endlessly. We'll keep looking at the information.
Even WA is suggesting that it should get an extension to JobKeeper. I would have thought they would be the last state on earth that would get any help.
Yeah, I actually made it into WA this month after 15 days in a neutral jurisdiction, South Australia, and that was one of the stories that hit me there, and that is crazy stuff, isn't it? So, I think they had a surplus, the state government. There are West Australian businesses saying we need JobKeeper to continue. That just shouldn't happen and won't happen.
Is it right that the Prime Minister, in waving goodbye to the Trump administration, calls Mike Pence, calls the Secretary of State, but doesn't call Trump himself? Is there something wrong about that?
Well, I guess they're the two he communicated the most with. I think we can read that from it. I'd previously heard last year about text exchanges with both Pence and Pompeo.
Right.
So despite the publicity and what Anthony Albanese is saying about the closeness of the Morrison-Trump relationship, sounds like he was closer to Pompeo and Pence, so he's saying goodbye to them, feels no reason to say goodbye to Trump. It's a tricky one. A lot of people are pretty alarmed at the behaviour of Donald Trump. Scott Morrison's probably conscious of that. A lot of his supporters would also support Donald Trump, which is what Albanese's tried to do today, seeking to really sort of build a wedge in his support and force him to speak out more openly against Trump. He's not going to fall for that trap with PM.
No. And probably the most interesting story today comes from the likelihood of the rollout of the vaccine and the approval of the vaccine, you've heard, as early as next week?
Yes, I have. A week's time. They believe they can potentially approve the Pfizer vaccine. There will likely be some conditions, including that it not be used on those who are over 80. You might think a bit counterintuitive because that's the people who need it who are most likely to die. The feeling is the AstraZeneca vaccine, which will be rolled out later, will be used on those over 80. Right. The reason is that study in Norway, or those findings in Norway, the deaths there, there's a feeling they're not connected to the use of the vaccine, the Pfizer vaccine, but why, be as cautious as you can, I guess. So it'll be health workers first, and the elderly who aren't 80 will get the 10 million doses of the Pfizer vaccine from late February. Then later in the year, we'll see the AstraZeneca vaccine rolled out in Australia.
Okay. Andrew, thank you for your time.